The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air. All right, welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. We're kind of getting used to this camera thing, but we want to do something special for the 100th episode.
Yep.
We've been long taunting what we're going to do, and it's so funny because at the beginning of the year, right, me and Kazi had like a planning session for the podcast, and one thing I guess we didn't do, we planned for the podcast in a bubble, not anticipating what everything else in our lives we're going to be doing at the same time. So it was like good to do, but things didn't go according to plan. But the funny thing, the reason why I bring it up, because we said, yo, we're going to hit the 100th episode. I just did like quick math one time, say sometime between August and September. I'm like, around there, we're going to hit the 100th episode. We should do something special for it. And we had our great grandiose plans. We're like, oh yeah, we're going to do the video recording, which you kind of see. Hopefully this makes it so we're doing that.
Right. I know the audio is cemented. We've been doing that for 99 episodes so far. That's good.
Exactly. So we're trying to do this. And then we also say, okay, we should have merch by that time. So we made it so far as to get 2 shirts. Merch on the way, coming soon.
Yep.
We said we want to have a Patreon. Our Patreon is live, but it's not fully live.
Not active.
By the time this probably comes up, but that's on its way. I think we have maybe like 2 Patreon donors so far. But we're trying to think of ways to make the podcast a community and actually like interact with our listeners more. So, also if you're listening on streaming, we might have given away, but we're actually like starting to gonna video record these podcasts too. So you're actually gonna see our faces. We did it for the intro to Exodus episode. I don't know.
That was a long time ago.
That was literally like last year, February or something. When it came like February 1st.
Yes.
And shout out to Peter.
Right. Bethany Kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bethany Kids. I was trying to remember that just now. We need to bring him back on the podcast. But
No, he was good.
very insightful. So that was the first time we actually did it. And the only reason why we did it was because we were partnering up with a nonprofit. And we're like, well, we kind of have to get our faces out there. And it was a novel idea at the time, but we have never continued it since. And we've had people ask us to do it. But this is a whole different level of podcasting now that we're entering into. And our plan is to continue this every week. So it's going to be a little bit more editing on our part, a little bit more recording, setting up, getting things right. And, eventually probably actually get a set or something where it'll be like the same background. Because these first couple episodes, you guys might see a little different background every now and again.
We might have different locations for the first couple episodes.
But we gonna get it sorted out. But yeah, man, bro. So it's been 100 episodes. And I know I've been teasing saying we're going to tell a lot of people thank you. But like, you have any like people and like normal listeners who stand out in your mind like first?
You got to shout out Steve. You got to shout out our boy Steve now.
Shout out Steve.
You got to shout out Twigman.
Twiggy.
See, but I don't even like getting into this because it's like
we're gonna leave some people out,
right? But you know who I really like, bro, and I don't really know them, bro. But shout out to your grandma, bro. Your grandma.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
She's such a pleasant person. You know what I'm saying? We was talking, and she actually reminded me of something about the pod that I had forgot. That I was just like, I would never doubt if you listen. You know what I'm saying? Because you do listen, and you go beyond what a lot of people go, and I appreciate that.
And what you were talking about too is the fresh air facts. So we started something, it was in 2021, last year, where we did like fresh air facts. So we tried to like pick out little nuggets, and we maybe did like 5 installments, and then life just got busy. I had to go back to the Bahamas, which we might get back into later. And so like, life just happened. And so we kind of like the fresh air facts kind of fell by the wayside, I would say. Sure. It's another thing on the bucket list that we need to start up again, and we have more cameras now, so we'll get into that. But yeah, like, and Grammy definitely appreciated meeting you too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's listening to this right now because every week at 8:00 I send the podcast to like 3 groups. One like one of some of my close friends and like my 2 different like sides of the family, right? And if I don't send the podcast in like the Roberts family chat by 8:00,
Yep.
by like 8:02, Grammy is coming in my personal chat. See, where's the podcast?
What's up?
Did
You
y'all not
falling off
record
it?
this week? Oh my! But like she'll actually go on YouTube and like look for it. So other people definitely like friends, family. Don't want to get into that. Grammy definitely, Steve, Twigman, Joey, my boy Ken Roy, who's listening.
I met him, right?
Ken Roy, yeah.
Yeah.
He say listen when you get a chance. Evan, man, too numerous to mention, man. But we definitely appreciate the podcast, and we definitely appreciate those who not only listen but share it. And like that's harder to quantify. But it'd be pretty cool just to like say some of the countries we've probably even been listening in. And so guys can see it's going to be like a different podcast episode. We're definitely going to get into like the Bible, but we're going to talk more about, give you the history of like how we started the podcast. Some like peel the curtain back, let you in behind the scenes, talk about like our personal stories, just to say like kind of like what we've been through. Cause like, I mean, we've alluded to it several times in the podcast, but we never actually like dedicated an episode to it. So naturally the US and the Bahamas are our biggest audiences.
For sure.
I am going to go into percentage, but other countries you've been listening to, Canada, makes sense somewhat, Jamaica, Germany, Netherlands, France, Barbados, Brazil, Bermuda, United Kingdom, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Australia, Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, Ivory Coast, Mauritius, I always never could say that properly, Mongolia, Iran, Philippines, South Africa, Mexico, Luxembourg, India, Singapore, Ghana, Morocco, Portugal, Cuba, Spain, Peru, Kenya, Slovakia, UAE, it's probably my cousin, Pakistan, Ireland, Denmark, Iraq, Vietnam, Japan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Argentina, Poland, Ukraine, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Russia, Virgin Islands, Turkey, Thailand, Bangladesh, Belgium, Curacao, the Dominican Republic, Taiwan, and Czech Republic. So that's like a lot of the countries we've been listened to in. I mean, the US and the Bahamas are our biggest audiences by far, and followed by Canada and then Jamaica. But it's just interesting. So it's like the podcast is getting that reach, and it's, I don't know, because like when we started it, it was like we're gonna get into that part, but like I never thought it would. Even though I wanted it to grow, it's just kind of crazy seeing the results 100 episodes in that we've actually. Man, I've never talked to anybody in Iraq. But to know that God is using the podcast to reach people in these countries where it's almost illegal to even have Christianity spoken about.
Very true, bro. Very true. Sometimes I sit and think like, who could this possibly be? You know what I'm saying? In this area. But, God is good. I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for family and friends who listen. Because obviously, I've done music, you know what I'm saying? I done multiple types of different art, like for consumption. And I found that, family, friends, like the people that you actually know will not be as loyal as the people that don't know you at all.
That's
you know
a
what I'm
fact.
saying? Like I talked to my boy Sasha, shout out to Sasha, but like I love talking to him. Steve, once again, like these people I talk to.
Shout out Cardell too.
Cardell, yeah, shout out to the farm, bro. Like that's why I don't like calling names because I know
You always forget someone, man.
right? And I don't, you know what I'm saying, I got love for all of y'all for real, but I talk to these people on a regular basis, like how you and I talk. Like if I find something in the Bible, reach out to my boy Sasha. You know what I'm saying? Sasha, he's married as well, so we talk. We just iron sharpens iron, right? And so my thing is, you already know how what's in my mind because we speak on a regular, But then you also listen to the podcast, you also share the podcast, and I'm just like, bro, that's love, man. I really appreciate that because I don't expect that from people that I know. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, I don't even impose myself on people like that. I don't impose the podcast. Like I share it generally. I don't go when people chat, hey, check this out, XYZ. Although I probably should. You know what I'm saying? But even when I guess I might be a little jaded because of the music. Because when I first started making music, I used to really try to get everybody on board. But everybody have their own life to live. You know, some
Yeah.
people don't have time. Some people aren't podcast type of people. You know, and so I appreciate when people listen. You know, because I'm very particular with whom I listen to. I can't just listen to any and everybody. You know, you have to have some type of quality that I like, that I could frequent, or some type of story or something. You know, so for all the people, you know, everybody from everywhere in the world, whether we met you or not, I and Earl, you know what I'm saying?
Sincere thank you.
The entire team, you know what I'm saying? The entire team.
Hey, we do have our people.
Yana, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like Yana's right now behind the camera.
Plus Yana, plus my wife, Yana.
Exactly. And like throughout it all, like even when we go back, like so we started having guests. I'm gonna probably forget some people, but Eli, Dan, Dominic, Wilfredo.
I gotta say Don again for some reason.
Wow, oh my goodness. So we've had guests.
See? That's what I talk about, bro. That's what I talk about. We just had Rich on.
Richard, yes. His last name, Lawrence, is coming to my head.
Right. But yo, shout out to all of the guests. That's why I ain't even try to go down to one name, Robin.
Exactly. Dominic's always on the podcast. And then we had that combined episode. We had like Eli, Yana, Dom, Naomi, Dan, everybody just chiming in. And so it's like, it's a team effort. I mean, because like, honestly, like, their episodes add value. And they even give us a different perspective because like every time we have a guest on, they come from a different angle that we're not expecting. Because like we're similar. I mean, again, we talk so much about the like episode before the time, so it's like we kind of already know like what each other's points are. But when we have a guest come in, they're coming from a whole different perspective. They're bringing in a new, fresh air into the episode, and so it's really nice when we have our guests. And like I enjoyed each one of them. So we're trying to get more of our guests back on too. And also, like, the same thing we're about to do, too. We're probably going to get some guests on to talk more about their testimonies and try to have, like, a whole different series. And we have different ideas that we talked about, too. Even some from this week that we started to, like, flesh out. So, yeah. Do you want to talk about your testimony? I feel like I'm forgetting something else. But
let's just go into it, bro. Let's just go into it. Oh, you want me to go first? Or
so, yeah. Let's see, like, where you want to start from. Like, at which pivotal point you want to start from?
Yeah, let's just know. Oh, where you mean personally? Where I want to start from
in this story?
Briefly about the childhood, like 1 or 2 sentences, but it's mainly like
college and up. All right. So, I guess first question: were you always a Christian?
Always a Christian, bro. Born and raised Christian, bro. As a matter of fact, like even among Christians, like among Adventists in the church that I grew up in, I was the one who would still try to do certain things. Like if our parents ain't around, I would still be trying to keep the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Like if, you know, I had friends who born and raised same church as me, try to say, hey, let's play ball, let's do this and that and the third, but I'd be the one like, nah, I don't really feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like that wasn't really in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can credit that to my upbringing, you know, shout out to my mom, but I just, certain things.
Make sure you enunciate your words right.
Oh, for sure. On camera too. Hold on. Right. But yeah, born and raised Christian, bro.
Okay.
7-day Adventist specifically, you know.
So you say you want to skip. So I guess I'll ask this question to bring out your testimony. Like, what was your lowest point in Christianity for you personally? Or what point did you feel like you was furthest away from God?
You know, that's such an interesting thing, bro, because when I first moved to Orlando, bro, looking at where I am right now, bro, I was away from God for a long time without even noticing it, bro. Because I was content where I was and I didn't see the value or the need in actually putting in work. You know, like early on in the pod, we talk about how, you know, professional athletes, this is like when we was talking about Enoch and his study habits and stuff like that. But, you know, professional athletes, they eat a certain way, they wake up, they make sure they get them on a rest, they make sure they work out. It's like they obsess over this thing. And, you know, I didn't see the value in actually putting the effort into my Christian life, the way we put an effort into our career or our parents, XYZ, you know. But while we were roommates, when I was waiting on my immigration status to continue because I was out of work for a few months because of paperwork and stuff like that, bro, I was depressed, bro. I was depressed and I didn't even know it. I was pushing away from everybody. I didn't really want to talk much. You know what I'm saying? I was quiet. I didn't feel sad, but I just felt numb. And I felt like that was like one of my darkest moments spiritually. I'd still wake up, pray every day, but my relationship with God, it started to grow in terms of my habits, my daily habits. But that was really because I knew that if I was disconnected from God, that would affect my music. It was during that time when I developed a obsession over music, and God was a part of that obsession over music, you know. And I watched God say, I could work with that. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're giving me. I can work with that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that would be my darkest point or my lowest point in terms of spirituality when I had finished college. So, because you got to think about it. When you're in high school, there's a goal. We're gonna finish school or maybe to work. You know what I'm saying? I finished high school, college. I went through hot water to get through college, right? So there's always a goal. There's always something to lean on God for. But now I get the job that God gave me, that God wanted me to be on. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have to stress about that. I had a job offer, like the first, January spring semester before I graduated. I had a job, bro. While everybody was scrambling and stuff like that, I was chilling. I was chilling.
Big chilling.
I'm just like, bro, my fault. I just was like, all I need is my diploma, and I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so I get that. And then it gets taken away from me. So I'm like, am I going to get hired? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to get a work visa or what? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sitting there and I'm just so confused, bro. I'm confused, but it's like, man, this got to work. Oh, will it work? Will it not? And I was in such a limbo, bro. And this wasn't one of those things that, like graduating college, something I had never experienced. You have an earnestness or eagerness to accomplish this. I'd already been working at this job for a year. I'm just like, man, I hope it worked. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't feel the need to say, God, you know what I'm saying? Like really petition. But I'm just like, man, I hope it worked. I hope it worked. And that's when I started to feel all of those emotions, because it was at that moment when I realized, bro, I had a standstill and I don't really have nothing to look forward to. Like I don't have no goal in front of me anymore, you know?
Okay.
And so that kind of messed with me emotionally and spiritually, you know?
So it's like, I know a different part of your life too. So I understand this part, right? I don't even know if you want to talk about the college part. 'Cause I know in college, you also went through like a part that some would say might have kind of pulled you away from God. So how do you feel like when you like went through that ordeal? Okay. You talk about it.
Yeah. So, all right. I think it might honestly be best if I just give my whole outline.
Just go for it.
Like everything's so connected. Bro. Yeah. When I was about 3 or 4 years old, I used to sing to my great grandmother. I can't remember. I think she passed away from cancer, but I can't remember if she was sick or not at the time. But she really loved kids. I would sing to her. I would preach for her, you know. And I always wanted to be a pastor, bro. Always wanted to be a calling, bro. I never once sit down and decided to be a pastor. Like it's like I born with a desire to be a pastor or a preacher, bro. From day one. And I used to preach to her. I used to, you know, and the Lord said, you know, no substance, right? But I'm just practicing, you know? And she would eat that right up. You know, old people, especially from the Bahamas, they love God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, amen. It's like that's the only thing they have in their life is just God, God, God. So they could talk about some God. They could eat that up. You know what I'm saying? And she told my mom, never let me run away from my calling. She told that to my mom. And I had to be like 4 or 5 years old. And it was at that point that I started thinking deeply about being a pastor.
So at 4?
Yeah, at about 4 years old, bro.
At 4 years old, you was thinking about being a pastor.
I kid you not. So, but this way I'd start to take a turn, because I would sit and think, why is it so important for you to tell my mom never to let me change my mind from this, right? And I realized that, I'm like, yo, what about this thing? Why? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just a kid. I can't really understand, you know? Yeah. And so I started looking at pastors. I started considering what their job is. They are leaders. And I started comparing myself to pastors. And I look at it and I'm like, bro, I don't know no pastor growing up. Like, I didn't really know no pastor who was like a hooper. It's like hoop. Cool. Like cool, you know what I'm saying? Like they hoop. Like, bro, I remember it was a long time in my childhood where they used to be preaching against rap music, bro. Rap music, you know what I'm saying? And so like it was certain things about my life compared to pastors and the life that I thought pastors had that I did not see where these two would align ever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so I was just like, bro, I don't know if I could ever be like that. I don't know if I could ever be such a proper person like the examples in front of me. So that started to discourage me. And I could, like, looking back on it now, I could see the devil hands and all of this, bro, because when I would sing in the choir, bro, I wasn't the best singer, but I could have been better if I had never stopped. When I would sing in the choir, bro.
But you go into Oakwood, everybody at Oakwood can sing.
That's a fact, bro. Bro.
Everybody at Oakwood can sing.
And it's like, if I was to ever sing and people hear me hold a note, they wouldn't even be shocked, bro. Like, cause it's like, bro, it's a high percentage. I want to say like 60 or 75% of people at Oakwood can sing, bro.
I thought it was like 90.
I don't think it could ever be 90 for sure. You know what I'm saying? But bro, it's high. But you wouldn't know unless everybody used to try and sing. It'd be people who don't even talk, bro. It'd be the most introverted, karate type of person. You know what I mean? Like, you like this person in his own world.
Yeah.
One day you hear him singing, you're like, wow, you sound like an angel. Yo, like that was beautiful. But anyway, so maybe I was destined to go to Oakwood because anyway, whatever. So
it's all a part of God's plan.
It's all connected. So I would try to sing. I would sing in the choir, bro. I would sing leads, bro, at a young age. And my friends would tease me for that, bro. My male friends, I was the only person in
that
church.
wasn't cool.
Bro, that was not cool, bro. I was the only young man in my church, bro, who was very active in my age group, bro. I would be in the church plays. I would play Jesus. Bro, and it's so funny because like the year I was born, none of my male friends were born that year. So they were either a year above me or years under me. So when I turned 13, I played Jesus in church, right? And bro, I got clowned for that, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. And I couldn't even look at where the rest of my boys are because all of them, they 14 and up. So they ain't in the children's. So they can't do this. This was Children's Day.
Yeah.
I was the only eligible, you know what I'm saying? And I remember people laughing at me when I was going through puberty, singing, my voice cracking, bro. All of these things, bro, it just like kind of like
leave a negative taste.
Right. Like it kind of discouraged me from even going this route, bro. And I had an identity crisis for the rest of my life because of that, bro. Because I wasn't being a minister, because I wasn't being used the way God had blessed me to be used. Bro, God put this in me to be the person to start something at a young age in our church. Like I say, bro, the young men in my church, bro, nobody had the components to be like charismatic or to public speak, bro. You can look at them in life today, bro. Everybody I grew up with at that church, nobody is a public speaker, bro. I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't know no other male who sing. Like girls were singing. I did. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these things, God put me in this church with these gifts to be a light. And I allow myself to be influenced by everybody else. Right? So grade 11, grade 12, you got to fill out, this is a part of the graduation package. You got to say what you want to be. I don't know what to say, bro. I don't know what to say, bro. I remember being teased in like elementary school. Some of my boys, oh, you want to be a pastor? Everybody want to be police and things like that. You want to be a pastor? Like that was always a joke, bro. My name is Nakhaz. I have a unique name.
Very unique.
And it's challenging to some people. I don't know why, right? My last name is gay. You understand?
Also unique.
We can leave that right there. You can understand. So I try to stray away from things that isolate me. You understand what I said? Because it's like, all right, the light-skinned guy, we could that's an easy target, right?
Exactly.
Last name is gay. He named funny. You know what I mean? It's like, and I was chubby as a kid. You feel me? And it's like, unless I plan on fighting every day, you know what I mean?
Gotta make peace.
I can make peace. You see what I said? So I try to stray away from doing things to make me like stand out, you know? And so I graduate college. I pursue accounting and finance. This is something that I feel like I'm not bad at, you know, because my mother does that, you know. But is this what God put in me? You know what I'm saying? Midway through college, I started to lose myself, bro. I started acting in a way where this wasn't my trajectory before. I stopped being motivated spiritually. You know what I'm saying? I just started being a regular human being, bro. And God take me out of that situation. I had to spend a year outside of school. And it was then, bro, when God sent me home, people was texting me long messages, bro. Bro, how much I impact their life, bro. Like people was acting like I died, bro. Like it's funny to think about now, bro. People was texting me all of the times that we had, you know. And I sat there and I was just like, bro, what if I never get to finish school, bro? You know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about all of the people I was just playing around, wasting time with, bro. They moving on, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody graduate a year ahead of me because I had to sit down because my scholarship didn't come in time. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like this scholarship coming time all the time, but when I got to sit home, I got to realize how much I needed God. And this is my junior year in college, bro. I got rebaptized back home. So this was, I believe, this is 2015. This was the beginning of my actual walk with Christ. You know what I'm saying? I went back to school, do everything I was doing before, bro. I threw it all away, bro. It was almost as if it never even happened, bro.
Do you think it was because of the environment again that you went back in? It was just easy to backslide is a certain way to put it, or it's just because I feel like we sometimes get caught up in like, okay, we need God for this moment, but as soon as we get back in the environment where we say like, okay, everything's good, it's easier for us to like not rely on God anymore.
You know, bro, bro, that's such the easy way to say, bro. Like that would be like the default. Oh, that makes sense. He do that. That wasn't the reason why, bro. The reason why I backslid when I came, because it took more out of me to be a man, bro, and to be unique once again. You understand? Than it would for me to just act natural how I was before, like to be the person that you remember before. So if me and you was partying and just living life without restrictions, bro, for this semester, I go home for a year and come back, you ready to run that back, bro, because that's how you remember me. But I changed, bro. And there's too much to talk about, bro. I gotta tell you, you gotta
explain to everybody.
I gotta explain to everybody. I gotta let people down. I gotta disappoint people. Nah, bro. I go on right back to what I was doing before. That was the situation that I was in. You know? And so I could put a pin right there, bro. And let me I can get you in on some of this, bro. Cause you know me, I can talk forever.
Hey, that was my plan, just to let you talk.
Right. So when did you? How long have you been a Christian? Let me just ask that.
So again, similar with you. Like I was born and raised a Seventh-day Adventist in the church. Went to Centerville growing up. Was involved in like children's choir, Pathfinders, all that stuff growing up. Because mommy made sure we was involved. So from birth, I was a Christian and an Adventist. Never was not one. So what else you got?
All right. So let me ask you. Right, and I really just mirroring the questions too. So, like, when do you feel like was your lowest point spiritually?
College. So, I guess to build up to that point, to catch up where we could be the same similar points in our story. So, I went to Walla Walla University for college, and it's kind of interesting because it's the furthest Adventist college in the contiguous United States that you could get from the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of weird how I even got there. I mean, granted, mommy always wanted me to go to Adventist school. Yes, first kid off, she kind of wanted me to go to Adventist school. So, like, first I thought I was going to go to Oakwood. Me personally, I never wanted to go to Oakwood at first. It's kind of weird because this story gonna come full circle. I never wanted to go to Oakwood because I knew Oakwood didn't have an engineering program for real. You had to spend 2 years at Oakwood and to go to UAH.
Yeah, inefficient too.
Exactly. So the thing is, like, I applied to a bunch of colleges, right? Got accepted in a bunch of them, right? And for some strange reason, it was only Walla Walla was really like getting back to me on time. Like the finances started to work out. Everything started to like, just fall in place. Like it was only Walla Walla. And I didn't realize until like years in that it was like, I guess like kind of God really wanted me to go to Walla Walla. We're going to get into that part later. But it was like, I look back, I was like, oh, it was like this school would ask for something like I didn't send it. So I'm thinking this is the school's the problem, it was me. But like everything worked out that I ended up going to Walla Walla. And then so like as I got to Walla Walla, that first year I didn't feel like I fit in. And full transparency, like Walla Walla is like at that point in time, it's way better now diversity wise. But back then it was way more white than it was anything. So
You don't need American.
I'm not American. I'm a black kid coming into the Pacific Northwest. Is a different culture. Like so a lot of Bahamians, they really just go to like Florida, Georgia, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't really. There's no real reason to go like way out, and they go into the West Coast. They really go into Cali. You know, we're really thinking about Oregon and Washington or Idaho and Montana. Like that's really like Walla Walla gets like California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, like all the states up there.
That's their area.
Exactly. And so like terrain, different culture, different everything, like man, like sunshine and sea, like clouds, fog. It's gray most of the year. In the summer, it's super hot. Like first time really living in snow. and then having soup like minus 14 degrees in the summer could get up to like 110. That's super dry heat. But like that first year, I didn't really fit in because it was like at Oakwood, you went there with Bahamians, and even if you didn't like go to school with these Bahamians, like the Bahamian community was still there. You had people from different islands. Like when I went to Walla Walla, it was about like 3 of us, but it was like we didn't have like that big family community to really just show us the ropes. Because I think Dominic was only there for a year before that, so it was like he had some friends, but it wasn't like no big Bahamian community. And so you got to make it on your own. I don't know these people from high school, never know these people from church, and everyone already come into college. They already like played against each other in like the basketball tournaments, the soccer tournaments, if they didn't go to high school with each other. So everyone already came to college with their cliques. So I'm there like just a guy from the Bahamas. I really had 2 best friends really and truly at the time in my first year. Leslie, we came from the Bahamas together. We grew into best friends. Well, he came from Abaco, Nassau, so we still didn't know each other until we got to Walla Walla. But that's a funny story. Whenever I get him in the podcast, I'll tell that story our first like week. But in the preservation of time, so then my next friend Josh, who was like really like my main guy that year too, he's from the island of Palau. And I didn't even know Palau was a real country until I met Josh.
Yeah, this is the first I hear about it, bro.
Exactly, bro.
I ain't a geography guy though. Like
I literally told him
called with that.
when he said Palau, I said, bro, stop lying. That's not a real place.
That's not like. Anyway, no, let me not even do that because I don't want to offend nobody. But yeah,
I said, bro, stop lying. That's not a real place.
Yeah.
And I felt like I knew places, right?
Yeah.
He said, but look at this, a little tiny dot in the Pacific Ocean. But that's my boy. But the funny, so like, even though yes, I did make friends, I did make some connections that first year, but I never really felt like I fit in per se. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's one thing to like be associated with something, but it's one thing to actually be a part of something. I never really felt like I was a part of anything at Walla Walla during my first year. And so like I already made the plans like, man, I see what everyone's having fun at like Oakwood and Southern. I'm like, it might not be so bad just to switch to UAH, right? Yeah, like I was legitimately ready to try to transfer. I was ready to like talk to Moment and be like, yo, let's make this happen. Like Walla Walla ain't it. I could go to Oakwood, still at Venice, you know what I'm saying? Do the UAH thing. Like my uncle, those went to UAH. I have cousins who went to UAH. Like it's familiar territory for the family, you know what I'm saying?
Pipeline is right there.
Exactly. Like a bunch of payments. Anything happen, I ain't a whole day's worth of flying from home ready to sell the whole story. But at the end of my freshman year, right, RA applications came out. And it's weird because I was like, I ain't really that sociable. And it's so interesting because like, everyone knows me. I'm like a pretty sociable, outgoing person. Bro, that first year at Walla Walla, I really was not that sociable, bro. Because I literally just didn't fit in. So I never was, and I was like always like kind of like in a like box per se. You know what I'm saying? Like sitting like, bro, going to the cafeteria. You know, everyone in the cafeteria sitting in their groups. Yo, me and Leslie would text each other, bro, and be like, yo, you going to the cap? You know, you going to the cap, bro? I'm just going to the cap. I'm getting to go box and I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I even want to go through that awkward interaction, but sitting to a table and like having to make that small talk and thing. I just wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? And part of that might have been on me, but again, just wasn't into that. But RA applications came out and I was like, you know what, God, I'm gonna give it a try. Like, I didn't expect to actually get picked either because I'm like, I'm not that sociable. Like for RAs, you want people who are more outgoing. And I got the job. I was like, well, shoot, what I can do now? Like, I gotta do it. Yeah. So it became an RA that second year, my sophomore year. And like way better experience. Like I actually started to like ingratiate more into the school. Crazy thing, I was still like one of the youngest RAs. Like I was super young, graduated at 17, went to college at 17. So I was already like kind of a year younger than almost everybody else, like almost to every level of my schooling process. So at the end of sophomore year, like all the deans that was about to graduate was not, so I applied to be a student dean. And I was like, again, don't expect to get. I was like, at worst, I'll just be head RA or something, get them biggest room or something. And like, I was able to get dean. And it's so interesting what happened at the Walla Walla, because all the actual full-time deans left that summer. And I actually stayed I was like my first summer actually staying at Walla Walla. And like, bro, I had to do like all the work for the dorm. So it's kind of interesting like how God puts you in places where you didn't even expect to be for the right time. Like, man, me and like the director of housing that summer, Kristen Taylor, like, man, I love that woman. I was like, you know, you gotta be careful how you say things nowadays. But you get what I'm saying. But I love Kristen, like as a friend, whatever. Like she really held it down. Like she's the one who actually like took the risk on hiring me as a young dean. But like that year, like I was able to like actually like help Walla Walla like resident deans because we had to hire like 2 new full-time deans who didn't really like know anything about like Walla Walla deaning per se. But to get back to like the main point here, like in college there was a lull in there. Like even while I was a dean, man, like I stopped going to church. I like, again, I could use the weather as an excuse or whatever, but it's like I just stopped. Like I just didn't feel connected. Wasn't really trying, wasn't really making the effort. The funny thing is, as a dean, every like once a month you have to go to like the different worship services or whatever, just like collect the worship cards for the people who have to go to worship. But yeah, man, like church would sleep and wouldn't go, just never really felt that connection. And something was just like missing. You know, that kind of way, like it was just like missing. Like I felt like I know I should be going, but it was like, why should I be going? And it was like during like, but the funny thing about it was like during that path, I had to figure out like, what was Christianity to me? And the reason why that was so important was because, again, I feel like we as Christians, especially who were born Christian, we could kind of take it for granted because we were always immersed in the community. Especially if you went to a Christian school. It doesn't have to be Adventist in this instance, but you went to a Christian school, you went to a Christian college, you're already engrossed in this community. Like you go to church and that kind of stuff. So you, for granted, never really had to study hard. Again, for me personally, I can't speak to everyone on that, but I never really had to study hard to figure out like, who is God? Why am I a Christian? And even deeper, why am I an Adventist? So it's like during that time was when I really just like start digging deep, like, why? Like, why am I really a Christian? Like, what does it mean to be a Christian? Like, obviously, of course, I know the stories of the Bible, but I didn't really know the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So I actually started to like dig for those questions. Like, okay, like, what does it mean to be a Christian? Like, that's when I really like started like my journey. But it was in the moment when I wouldn't even say God pulled away from me because I always felt the tug, but it was like more so like I pulled away from him to kind of like get to know who he actually was. And it's kind of oxymoronic to think about it, but like that's kind of what ended up happening. Like I literally pulled away. Like I wasn't doing nothing religious per se out of will. It was like, obviously I had obligations to do, but I wasn't like, I pulled away from God. But I never like turned my back on God. It was just like me having to figure out like, what is this Christianity thing? And I feel like every Christian has to go on that journey at some point.
I agree. I definitely
at some
agree.
point in their life, because like Paul says, at some point you got to stop eating baby food and move on to solids. And I think that's kind of where that point started for me. I wouldn't say like I got some resolution on certain things. I understood like the importance of Christianity. I even took a class called World Religion just because, again, I was kind of curious, like what's happening out there, like how I know we actually get it right. And as Christians, we take it for granted, but like to Richard's point, you got to know what you believe, where it's found, and why you believe it, essentially, kind of thing. So it's like, yo, Christianity, like we know we have it right. Like for me at that time was like, let me see what these other religions believe and kind of see what they're really saying, because again, I still believe Christianity was the answer, but I'm like, how I know that for sure if I didn't know what these other people come from?
You believe it, but do you know it?
Exactly.
Right.
And so it was like I went and studied the other religions, and I also came back in Christianity and started to compare doctrines, because for me it was like, yo, that was important at the time. And that's why you can make some jokes about different religious books.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say it on this, right? But you had me make some of the jokes because I actually like delved into kind of understood like what they believe. And that's why I saw like some of the similarities between religions. A lot of people don't know how similar a lot of these religions actually are, but how deceptive that is. That's a story for a different day.
Story for a different time. And we have a lot of stories for a lot of different times.
So yeah, like so that was kind of my lowest point of Christianity right there. But yeah, so like from your college experience, going through that, you came back to you were able to come back to school, and you said you weren't able to, in your terms, like man up and say no. How did things progress from there?
Okay, so I came back. I finished my junior year. I was afraid to go back home because I had lost my visa just taking a trip home, and they didn't let me back in. You know what I'm saying? And so I stayed in the United States until I finished school. Right? I worked for that whole year, and I did not come home. You know what I'm saying? And after the year was done, so graduated, got a job, moved to Florida, worked for a year. And then we back to when I was waiting on a visa. You know what I'm saying? My student visa expired now. I can't work on that anymore. Now I need a work visa or something, you know. And I paid money. I paid $1,500 for them to expedite my case, to give me an answer yes or no with my immigration stuff. But I still ended up 3 months without work. And so every day up there, at first I was happy, you know, I don't got no obligation. And then all of my savings was depleted. You know what I'm saying? My pride wouldn't allow me to ask you or anybody else for help. You know, I remember you said, bro, you know, I can help, bro.
I remember, like, it was kind of awkward too, because like, I know as a man, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know I would be in that circumstance, like, bro, I'm gonna figure it out, right? And I was like, I know my boy ain't working. And I'm like, is it right for me to still be like, yo, where's your half of the rent? And I was like, I know I could cover the full rent. And I was like, yo, I literally remember, I was like, bro, and let me phrase like this. I ain't trying to step on your toe, but let me know. Like, if you can't do it, I ain't trying to put that pressure on you. I literally remember, I was like, because I want, like, just automatically assume and disrespect, but I ain't want to be the guy here being like, Earl, no, I ain't working. He's still taxing
And he's
me.
still shaking me down for that money, bro. He know I ain't working for 3 months. 3 months, mommy. 3, you know, because, you know, when we say I need to enunciate, pronounce these THs, right? But yeah, bro, so, I mean, by the grace of God, bro, you know, I had, obviously, my family, you know, my now wife, you know, I had their support, so I know I could take care of my obligations, but everything beyond that, I just sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? Thinking about it now, it's like, I could have stayed, I have family who live in America, I could have just stayed with them the whole time, but bro, this was like uncharted territory for me, bro. I had to learn about myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never really... Bro, when I graduated college, this was the first time I was just alone in the world without a safety net. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I did have my family to help me, but I had to make decisions on my own that only affected me, you know? And so, like, my car would run out of gas. You know what I would do? Not drive. I ain't got nowhere to go. You know, I stand right home, bro. My ton completely wipe away. I was in Florida. I would not leave my house, you know? But anyway, bro, I started making music because this is the only, bro, this is like literally the only thing I have to look forward to every day, because there's something for me to do. You know, God bless us in a way where, you know, we need to work. We need to have something to occupy our time, something constructive. I started making music. I make music, bro, and I'm talking about, it'll be times when I'd be like 16 hours straight in front of my computer. The only thing I'm stopping to do is to use the restroom. I started to obsess over music, bro. I was so depressed at that time, I started to fill a void with music. And you know, bro, I made some hits, bro. I made, obviously, my song, I'm a Behemoth, made that during that time, 2018. That song, I think it came out 2019. You know what I'm saying? I sat on it for over a year. You remember, but bro, in the midst of my journey, under those circumstances, when I was the most depressed, I discovered that I was depressed. And then I made songs about being depressed. And one night, I had a dream. And you remember this day because this was actually the turning point in my whole life, bro. And it's just so funny how everything is connected, bro. Like music to my spirituality, you know what I'm saying? Everything is connected, bro. And the dream was a very, very lucid dream, bro. This did not feel like a dream. I had a dream, ladies and gentlemen, and basically I had a dream about what a lot of theologians define as the time of trouble. If you know Christian history, you know there was a time when Christians were being persecuted by Christians, by the rulers of the church, you know what I'm saying, the popes, you know what I'm saying, the priests, Christian institutions persecuting other Christians, you know, the crusaders and stuff like that, all of this time. And so I had a dream that this time had came back. And prophetically, there is evidence in the book of Daniel and Revelation to support another time of trouble that is coming. And that's something we could talk at another time.
A different time.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Right. And so I had a dream that the national Sunday law had just passed, bro. I was in the Bahamas. It was me and my siblings. And on the news, they say, yo, it's a national Sunday law. You know, all those who keep the Sabbath, you know, God's commandment, the fourth commandment, you know, would be persecuted. They didn't say that verbatim, but that was the implication of the thing. And my mom and my sister was just like, okay, yeah. You know, we had prepared for this. We had been waiting for this, you know. Now, I don't believe this dream was like 100% this is going to happen just like this. Yeah. But I understand that God was trying to wake me up. And I'll tell you why. In that dream, my older sister and my mother were calm. They was ready to go. They was just waiting on me and my twin. My twin wasn't ready. Neither was I. I did not know what to do, bro. I did not know what to pack. I remember going into a drawer. In this book bag, because I got to run, do I carry clothes? Do I carry food? You know what I'm saying? Do I carry my Bible? Do I carry like camping bag, whatever? Bro, I did not know what to carry. Mm-hmm. And I woke up. And the next day, I could not shake this dream, bro. This dream was just taunting me, bro. Like this just pierced my soul. How lucid, this dream was like scarring me, bro. And remember, I said I don't have nothing to do with my life every day right now. I'm just making music. You know what I'm saying? So I'm making music. I'm trying to mask the dream, making music, and I cannot forget it. I go to the gym, and I hadn't been to the gym in months because it used to come out of my paycheck, like direct deposit. No, it actually used to come out of my salary. You know what I'm saying? Because we have partnerships with this gym, right? And so I didn't know, because my salary had stopped happening for months now. I didn't know if my gym membership was still active, but it was. I said, by the grace of God, let me try. And I got in, and finally I could forget about the dream. I started listening to music, and the more I listened to this particular artist, a rapper, I remember the dream again. And so I say, yo, let me stop. Let me just turn off this. And I look at the song that I was listening to that reminded me so much of my dream. And I kid you all not. I'm not even trying to be conspiracy man, bro, but it's all connected, bro. The song was called 666, bro. Mm-hmm. The actual song, 3 6s, bro. That was the name of the song. And I listen to this artist occasionally. Like, he has a lot of hits on the radio and stuff like that. And I was just like, bro, hold on. Why am I listening to this song? Because I'm listening to his album, bro. I'm not looking at any titles. Yeah. I'm in the gym. And why, when this song play, I feel so...
Feel it in your soul.
I feel so much in my soul. Yeah. And then then my dream was related to Revelation, where 666 is the only time mentioned is in Revelation. And I'm just like, hold on. That really freaked me out to the point where I say, hold on now, bro. What is in this book, the Bible? What is prophecy? You know what I'm saying? Why did Jesus tell us to read Daniel and Revelation? Oh, Daniel, I'm sorry, not Revelation, because Revelation wasn't written yet. But why did he tell us to read Daniel? And I needed to know any prophecy that I've learned in the Adventist church or in any Christian setting, is it true? Mm-hmm. So I come to you that day, and I'm like, bro, honestly, bro, I am so impressed to learn the Bible, bro. And he was like, let's do it. Straight like that, you know what I mean? Let's do it. And at the time, I don't know what obviously we had went to church. I don't know how much we had discussed the Bible and stuff like that. I believe it may have came up in conversation.
But it wasn't like how we do now, definitely not.
Right. So I don't know how you're gonna take this. And you're just like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And you are a let's do it type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And so we're like, all right, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from Genesis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so even like, okay, so like I'm gonna take my story back, right? So like in college, okay. And some blessings even going to college, right? I was able to kind of how this podcast and everything wasn't even a problem was because like I was able, by the grace of God, to go to India like 3 years in a row, had a project over there. And the crazy thing is I never even had to pay for like none of my tickets or anything. Like God had it so that I was able to like get a senior project out of it, meet new people, travel and explore the world.
But that must have been amazing.
It was pretty good. And like God worked it out. That's all God. I was like probably one of the reasons why I ended up having to go to Walla, and also like to kind of get closer to God. But on my last trip to India, right? The last 2 times I went to India, like the second time I went, they made me preach. And so the third time, they was like, oh, you got to preach again, right? and so like, it's like, because like that third time I was like, yo, how am I gonna? So I kind of already prepared for it, did a all right sermon. They enjoyed it or whatever, but it was kind of all right sermon, right? But like one of the people I was with was like, yo, Earl, you need to do like a makeover of the Bible or something, like you make it interesting. And I was like, bro, whatever, bro. Just not even thinking about it. I was like, bro, whatever. He's like, no, bro, I'm serious. Like, I could tell like that's really like impressive. And I was like, bro, first of all, that wasn't even my best work.
Right. Like, my bag deeper than that, bro. Like,
I was like, you should see the sermon with me, right? When I was in the children's stuff, right?
My mom was my ghostwriter for my sermons too.
I was like, you should have seen, you should have really seen my best work.
Right.
If I had called mommy up, you would have really get a sermon.
I tell you.
Right? So, and he was like, bro, I'm serious. And he's like, you have something like you actually can bless people with, right? And I was like, whatever, man. He's like, yo, at least do like a verse over the Bible or something and just like read it and like make it funny. I was like, I'll see whatever happens. I was like, maybe one day. I'll do like something like that when I get like time. Fast forward, didn't think about it. And then I think like during around that time of your dream too, we started to talk about like maybe we should do something because again, we used to go on the Friday nights straight up, right? And it never felt right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you go and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be here because you're having fun, but at the end of the day, you still kind of feel that little tug in your heart, like, I know I shouldn't be doing this.
Right. And it always used to be a thought like, bro, if something was to happen to me tonight, of all nights, when I decided to go out on a Friday night, I always used to feel like, bro, something gonna happen to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to enjoy this night to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So like, and so after the dream, I was like, yo, let's do it. Cause I'm like, man, for one, it would be good for us to get closer to God. Because I mean, we're getting older and it's about time we take more responsibility of our own personal life and connection with God. I'm like, again, it kind of was like a continuation of my journey I went through in college. Like, okay, I need to like be better. So on pause. I don't know if that thing. All right.
Good, yeah.
All right. So
I need to be better.
no, I need to be better. Like, so I was like, okay, cool. It's the perfect time for us to actually like start getting closer to God, start taking this walk more serious. And so when you said, I was like, shoot, let's do it. Because at that time, behind the scenes, God was already working in my mind, like, yo, you probably need to be doing something like this regardless. And again, we didn't really have a home church yet in Orlando. Somewhat else, we still don't really have a home church because we still be bouncing between different churches. So I was like, okay, cool. If it's something else we could be doing, do it on a Friday night when we actually could get more friends involved, which we end up starting to do. And it would be good. Like, everyone's just growing. We have a safe space where we can talk and like wrestle with the concepts of Christianity in general and the Bible and discuss and sharpen each other. And we all walk away with a better understanding of what will be happening. And so, yeah, so that was my part of like, let's do it.
Yeah, bro. And so in doing it, we start to read the Bible. We also start to read Patriarchs and Prophets, which I recommend is a really good tool just for commentary. You know what I'm saying? Some people look at Ellen White like, oh, her word is gospel, da-da-da-da. No. I treat her writings the same way I treat like Enduring Word or just when you Google stuff about the Bible, you know what I'm saying? I take it as scholarly commentary, you know? So, you know, reading that, and that was good. It was amazing. Start inviting people over. Start inviting more and more people over. And so now we got like 8, 9 people at the crib, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And every Friday night. And we having real dialogue, real fun dialogue, you know, and the time is flying. You know, and whether people come or not come, you and
We're still doing it.
Yeah, we still running it.
Sometimes just like the podcast, we might have a guest, we might not, but the show must go on.
Show must go on, bro. And so
we started to think about like, someone, I don't know if it was us. No, it was like on a Saturday. I think we started saying, we probably should do this into like a podcast or something. We should start recording these like Bible studies, right? And so we were like, sure. And this is how the devil gets busy too. Because I shouldn't say, well, even if I say that, it's like kind of our own procrastination. Because I look back, man, like, and this happened 2018-ish. Like, I think I bought this mic at the end of 2018, I remember. And we didn't officially start recording the podcast. Like, we still was doing Bible study, ladies and gentlemen, right? But like the podcast part of it, we didn't even really start doing it until 2020, because remember in 2019, we tried to run like a little pilot thing. We just like recorded the Bible study, and it wasn't the same.
Right.
It wasn't the same.
No structure. We just was doing stuff. And I'll just be honest with you, bro. I wasn't prepared to see. My thing is, I jump into things, bro. Right? When I'm passionate about it. I was passionate about the Lord. I was passionate about recording. But was I passionate about recording about the Lord? That's the thing, bro. So when we talk about that, that's all good. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I ain't going to push the issue, bro, because what I look like being secular man, you know what I'm saying? Meaning being just a regular person who have no standards. Like you don't have to hold me up to the standard of being a Christian or living a certain way because I'm not promoting that.
Yeah.
That was my thing. And I'll go back to being a pastor, bro. I never decided to go forward with being a pastor because I'm not going to be responsible for somebody's salvation. I'm not going to be responsible for being an example as to what Jesus should be like. But unbeknownst to me, when you profess the name Christian, you are an example of what Jesus should be like, bro. Or you are an example of Jesus to others, bro. This might be when you go into India, bro, you might have been someone only evidence of seeing Christ. Whether you
Yeah.
say the name Christ or not, just the way you handle yourself, the way you conduct yourself. But in my mind, I was deceiving myself into thinking, bro, if I don't say I'm a Christian, or if I don't profess that, or if I don't be a pastor, bro, whether I influence you negatively, you shouldn't have the expectation that I should have influenced you positively. Because I didn't tell you I was here to impact you positively. Why do you expect that from me? But that ain't how God look at things. You know what I'm saying? And so with the podcast, I would never, bro. I would never take us. I would always say, yeah, bro, we should do that. I would never take a serious step because I know what comes with speaking about God. I know the minute I start doing this, bro, I in my mind, I don't have the excuse of not being a certain way or not act. So when I act a certain way, people can say, but ain't you be talking about God?
Yeah.
And I ain't got nothing to say against that. You know what I mean? They would be right. But I know that now if I don't put this podcast out, you shouldn't have an expectation of me because I never tell you I was this way or that way. So remember, bro, you record the pod, you know, nothing ever come out with. I didn't push the issue. You could have peer pressured me into it, but you didn't know I would only react if you peer pressured me into it, bro. And then also, when we actually started recording A Breath of Fresh Air, bro, remember we was like 12 episodes in before we actually put something in.
Bro, we was way in before like we even released them. You know,
That's what I'm talking about.
Big stockpile.
So that's what I'm saying. We stockpile episode upon episode. I'm talking about they mixed it, everything ready except putting them out. And that's me again. Because I'm like, bro, the minute I do this, bro, I don't have an alibi no more, bro. I can't say, oh, I wasn't supposed to. Bro, because like, and you know, I used to get so upset when people, like, when I would, like, once the podcast started coming out, people would come to me or people would write me and say, I didn't even know you was a Christian, bro. You know, you don't act like a Christian, you don't look like a Christian. That used to upset me because I'd be like, bro, so how was Christ or how was a Christian? How did they look? You know what I'm saying? Because we can't even tell you how Christ looked besides the hair of wool, bronze skin. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you how John the Baptist dressed. He wear a camel print and leather belt. That's how you want me to give it up every day? You know what I mean? But I did everything in my power, bro, to run away from being a Christ-like ambassador, bro. And that's because I was scared, bro. That's because I was scared, bro. I was scared to be it, bro. And it's just me being vulnerable and how we even get here, bro. And so when you was like, bro, at some point we got to put these out, I was like, well, you got me. You see what I said?
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
And so it was 2020. My music career, as well as everybody's career who are non-essential workers, was on a pause. You know what I'm saying? And I had no excuse where I could say, bro, oh, let's wait. So it was let's do it.
Yeah, we really went out of excuses too because it would start to be the perfect time because we would do our Bible studies on Friday nights. And so now it was like, well, it's COVID. Ain't no one invited over.
Right, exactly.
Ain't no one want come over.
Exactly.
And so we was like, okay, we literally have no excuse but to actually record an episode for real, for real. And I mean, for the people who follow for real, they'd see like our very, very first episode we released, and that was like the Samson. And the reason why we did Samson first, we was like, we need a pilot. We need to do something. We need to like do something like.
And I think in our individual Bible study,
we had just got done with Samson.
Right.
We had just got done with Samson. And our first episode, man, is crazy because our first episode, we was like, all right, we just gonna talk.
we just talking, no structure.
We just gonna talk. We just doing it. Exactly. And so we talk, and then we realized, oh, we gotta tone this back. We have to have a little bit more structure. And we just recorded, and then we was like, all right, cool. Let's do something a little bit more simpler. Then we did Keen and Abel. And then I was like, you know what? How we could release Keen and Abel if we don't tell them how we get here.
Exactly.
And then we went back into construct creation and then the fall. And then we just started to keep on going throughout the whole series from that point on. But it's just funny too, man, because think about it. Like, you went to Oakwood. I went to Walla Walla. But God still brought us together in Orlando to link up because he had a purpose for both of us to come together and do this podcast. Like, sometimes I look at that because I'm like, because remember, like, when you first came, like, you didn't even know I was here.
Right.
I didn't know you was coming here.
Right.
And then, like, we didn't even plan on being roommates originally either.
Right.
Like, God,
because you already had a spot, bro. Like, you had your spot, you had your lease. It was everything. You know what I mean? I come later, I had my spot. But then everything just started going wrong, bro.
I remember that. And I was like, bro, instead of just sleeping on the couch, I could just add you to my lease. I have a whole extra room. But it's like just looking back, like how everything in our lives came together by the grace of God to like end up with like a podcast coming out of it that to like promote Him. And it's like I tell people all the time, like I try not to take no credit for the pod. I'm like, yo, everything that happens is God. Like the growth organically is God. Like, bro, even some of these countries, I can't pronounce some of them. I know for a fact it ain't us. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how everything came together for us even to have the podcast, all the distractions, all the procrastination, all the ways that we thought like, yo, maybe we shouldn't. Because I mean, the audience don't know, like we started releasing at the end of September. I think it was around September 11th, 2020, just because it's someplace around it. Because I know you had just proposed to Yana like the week before. And then we were like, okay, we gonna set the date in September. But we already had like over like 20 something episodes already recorded, but before we even started releasing episodes. Like because the next thing too, like I had to go back to the Bahamas. And so we had all these recorded before I went to the Bahamas. I left America in May. No, it was around September. No,
it might have been May. No, August.
August,
yeah.
August, because I had to be out of the country by September. That was a fuck. So I had to be out of the country by September. So like, and I was again in the heart of COVID. I was stressed. I was like, yo, I gotta leave. I can't even get home. I had plans like if I gotta go, I gotta go to Canada or something, and then try to find a flight home. Like, but God was great. Everything worked out. That's a testimony for another day. But like, just seeing how through it all, like, we still was able to get it done. Because I felt the same way, man. I listened back to something I did at Walla Walla, the Week of Worship thing. And in the talk I gave, I literally said like how I didn't feel adequate to talk about God because I'm a sinner. And I feel like that's what the devil does to us a lot of times. Because the devil knows how good you could be for the Lord. And so, yo, if I could dim your light or make you have that self-doubt, that way you don't prophesy and evangelize and tell others about God and the goodness of God, then that's the next soul I could have. You know what I'm saying? So he makes us feel inadequate. He makes us feel incapable of talking about God by reminding us about how unworthy we actually are. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing about it, he might be telling us the truth, but the lie he's telling us is that because of these things, you're not good enough to talk about God.
That's the lie.
And that's the lie.
Right.
Exactly. And so, bro, I feel it because even since the pod, we've had people come to us individually, sometimes together, and just ask us like Bible questions. And I'm like, bro, what gave you the impression that I know this thing?
Right.
And then I remember my friend Cardell was like, bro, y'all have the podcast for y'all the Breath of Fresh Air boys. Y'all got to know these things now.
Hey,
and I was like, you right.
You're lying.
I may not accept it, but you right.
And it ain't the worst thing to know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather know than to not know. You feel
Exactly.
me? But it's just the pressure of being the person who should know. You know what I'm saying? Like that you would try to run from. But it ain't even that bad.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
Growing into it. Definitely growing into it. So, like, where you want to go now?
And
Because we kind of, like, knock a part of our testimony, so kind of at least our background. I think, so, like, from this point, what was, like, since the podcast has happened, what was, like, the best thing via the podcast that has happened to you in your life?
via the podcast,
Yeah.
honestly, and I'm gonna look at the camera, honestly, since I have this thing where I read the Bible, retain it, and then it washes away. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, you know, like on Snapchat when they write you, it used to be valid for like 24 hours and then just go away.
Yeah.
That's how reading the Bible has been for me most of my life. I don't know why. I don't know my preferred learning style in terms of reading the Bible. But while on the podcast, I have to pay such attention to detail that it sticks with me more. It sticks with me more. So my reading comprehension in terms of the Bible has increased. My memory in terms of the Bible, not every intricate detail, but especially stories, has increased. So generally, everything that we discuss on the Bible, narratively, I could probably repeat. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, I'm perfect, like photographic memory or nothing like that. But bro, it's crazy because my wife and I, we read the Bible together. We already finished the Old Testament. Like, it took us like half the year. We finished the Old Testament. Bro, half of 1st and 2nd Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Kings, I do not remember, bro. It's only some stuff. I'm like, you know, somebody might say something, like I'll be watching a sermon and they might quote something from Second Kings or a whole story from Second Kings. I'm like, when that happened? They just put that in the Bible. They like, cause I don't remember that, bro. I didn't like, this didn't cement in my mind. But the pod,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? These things stick to me, bro. We would be on air the same way how y'all watching us right now or maybe listening to us. But during the pod, I could have read this chapter 5 times. But during the pod, 5 times beforehand. But during the pod is when I would understand what this is saying. Wait, this wasn't here this whole time. It was surely there that whole time.
Exactly.
I didn't understand. Oh, this is what was being said, you know? And so truthfully, bro, I you know, I don't know what to tell people who don't have a podcast, bro, but this been the cheat code for me. Like, part of the reason why people might feel like I know the Bible or just remember stuff of the Bible so well is because I had to talk about this. You know what I mean? I had to study and talk about it. So, like, I would recommend to anybody, bro,
Start a podcast.
Start a podcast for sure, especially if it's about the Bible. But talk about the Bible. You know what I mean? You read something, discuss it with people. You know what I mean? You don't know how strong or how weak your memory is on something until you gotta try to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Until you gotta try to converse about it, especially without the Bible right there looking at it. But even if you could do either. You could read it to people and discuss, or you could just discuss off the dome. All of these things kind of sharpen your experience with the Bible. But same question to you, like,
What else? The biggest blessing?
right? So I don't want to misquote you verbatim, but it's like
Something along the lines. So I think like that one's definitely part of it, because for the podcast, I feel like when I was reading the Bible before, it was mostly check off a box. I just say I read it. For the podcast, I feel like we have to study a little bit deeper to get an understanding of what is actually saying. So like I'll read more commentaries, try to read the history, research the area, try to get a chronological idea of what's happening, what were these other nations around during the same time, just to kind of get an idea of what's happening in the full context of it. So when we come on the pod, I could say things that might just be more holistic or provide a different perspective. Like I guess last episode, why was like the ark, why them carrying the ark was so symbolic, just to like kind of dig into some of these things. So like people and our listeners can know. So it's like I do like a slightly deeper study, and then full transparency, but the Holy Spirit just be revealing things. That's what we're talking about.
That's true.
Because like so much things that we would talk in pre-pod and be like, yo, we want to say this or we taking it here. In the middle of the podcast, things just click and you just like, whoa, well, didn't see it going there, but God is good.
Right.
So definitely that. And then one thing, I remember one time when someone reached out to us on Instagram, and for me, this why this was a blessing was because they said they were interested, they were moved by what we were doing, but they never had a Bible. I remember I was so shocked I was by that. We sent them a Bible, but I was like, again, we take for granted, coming from a Christian background, how easy it is to have access to God. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't have this access to God, granted, but like a lot of people, for someone to say like, I don't even know where to get a Bible, to me that kind of like blew my mind, because I'm like, when I was traveling, you would find a Bible in the hotel room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like we took it for granted because we know what that is.
I don't think I ever actually bought a Bible, but like Bible.
They were
so
always
accessible.
around.
Yeah, like,
you go in Grammy house, there's a Bible. You home, there's a couple of Bibles just around.
Oakwood, bro, at your like what's it called, orientation thing, bro. They give you a drawstring bag that contains a Bible in it, bro. Like,
Wow, no, I don't think that's powerful.
yeah, bro.
So, but to me, like that was a light bulb moment. Like, yo, there's people out here who want, like, because we didn't know this woman from an O and a Cheerio. So like I just want to say, because like this was like none of our friends. This was someone who like we literally had like no connection,
no mutual friends.
Exactly, who was like just moved by the podcast page and probably listened to that episode and was like, I appreciate what you guys was doing. But when she said she never had a Bible, I was like, yo, we could send you a Bible. Like, what is a Bible? Like $25? Right. Sure, we could get you a Bible, but it was just like, yo, there's work out here to be done, because there's people who legitimately don't know they have free access to God or even where to start. Because I feel like it's something we took for granted. Like, okay, yeah, we want to do a podcast because we already kind of know about God and we can deepen our connection. There's people out there who's like, bro, I'm interested in learning about God, but I have no idea where to start. I have no idea where to start. And I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah, bro.
Because I would feel like, someone will actually pick up a Bible, but what do you do when you don't even know what a Bible is?
That's true, bro. And it's like when we started reading the Bible from Genesis in 2018 from Genesis, bro, we had so much backstory. We already knew who Jesus was, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like we already had such a understanding of the Bible, bro. But imagine the person that this is their first time, and bro, it's like you only know like biblical stuff from like pop culture when they say Jesus, or you hear people use the phrase like in the belly of the beast and stuff like that, but you don't even really know what this book about. You know what I'm saying, bro? Most Christians don't know what the book about, including me. You know, before we embarked on this podcast, bro. No, actually, before I had that dream, I didn't. Most of my understanding of the Bible was based on Genesis, bro, and that's so embarrassing. Genesis is like 50 chapters or so, and I'm like, wait, all these people was in Genesis? Yeah. Hold on. You telling me Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Noah, right? That's big stories. Exactly. Abraham, Joseph, you know what I'm saying? Well, Isaac a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Joseph and his brothers. And it's like, all of that, Sodom and Gomorrah, you know what I mean? All of these stories I know, all of that was in Genesis.
Tower of
Babel, bro. And it's like Genesis, bro. I feel like as a book, as an Old Testament book, people more likely to know the stories in Genesis, right? If you ask somebody about something in Judges outside of Samson, or even where Samson is found in the Bible, bro, I don't think the average Christian,
exactly,
you know what I'm saying, would know that, because I didn't even know that. We was just talking about how we didn't know David didn't have an actual book of David. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You would think.
Like you would think, you know. And so these are only things that you learn when you actually go and read. And that has been a blessing, bro. The pod is the vehicle, and the pod is something that pushed me to actually study in a certain way, you know, because our first few episodes, people, family and friends would come in my chat and they would nitpick on every little thing I say. Like, I remember I had said Eve ate the apple. I didn't even know I said that because I know better than that. And people were telling me, what you mean apple? When the Bible it say apple? Oh boy. And I like, all right, I know I have to be more precise now. You know what I'm saying? You can't just speak willy-nilly because, you know, this God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to give God my best offering. You know, at the same time, I want to be accurate, you know? And so, yeah, that's one of the main blessings in the podcast, but really push. But let me ask you this.
Go for it.
What book during, let me see, we a few books in really, but what book did you enjoy the most going through on the pod?
Ironically, Leviticus. And the reason why, and I know that's everyone's going to be like, why Leviticus? Because there's so much mystery about Leviticus that when we went through it, it was like relieving to understand the meaning of the book and why the book is so necessary. Because a lot of people just use Leviticus as a book to just bash people over their head
for sure,
without love. But now, like, when you actually understand the book, like, okay, why is this book important? Okay, so this is a book that the children of Israel needed to actually know how to get closer to their God. And God was giving you away like, hey, my presence is too good for you. You can't come in my presence unclean. Here is the instructions on how to get yourself clean so you actually could dwell in my presence. And so I was like, to me, it was like relieving to understand the context of the book of Leviticus. Like, story-wise, yeah, it's easy to say Genesis. Like, I love Genesis because it was like some of our best content, just easier to go. Because again, we had a lot of background to those stories again. Judges was interesting because we went through some really interesting stories that I didn't, like, honestly just forgot about. But Leviticus for me was just like, because again, the lead up to the book of Leviticus, we had the Bible study with the church group back home. So we did study Galatians too. So we simultaneously had to wrestle with Galatians and Leviticus in the same week. And so God had that lined up like perfectly, where we had to like rationalize like this works part of it, but also just to rationalize like being saved by faith and grace. And so that whole week was just powerful because we had to like, again, fully understand the context of Leviticus and how it still applies today, but the context of it back then. And so that was powerful for me.
Yeah, that was a time. Honestly, Leviticus, I feel like books like Leviticus and Deuteronomy, very essential books, because you need to know when they say, like in our last episode, David was wearing the linen ephod. that will have no relevance to you if you don't read Leviticus and Deuteronomy. If you don't even know who wears the ephod, why do they wear an ephod, who told them to, what is the ephod, you know what I'm saying? That type of context, you're gonna miss it. When Samson had when he killed the lion, take the honey out of the bee's nest, out of the lion's mouth. You don't know you don't know why the Bible writing this down. You know what I'm saying?
Why, like, what's the significance?
What's the significance of this? You know, and these are things that you're gonna find in the Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, mainly Leviticus, Deuteronomy, because these are the do's and don'ts. You know, one thing I do want to say about Leviticus is like when you see in the New Testament, they have books where they talk about people. They say stuff like, you are like this, that's why this. You know what I'm saying? You should stop being like this, right? Leviticus ain't even saying you are like this or that, you know. It's just saying don't, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it don't apply, let it fly, bro. If this book upsets you, you know what I'm saying, then it must mean that this is because
it
applies, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's a different story for a different time, because the book is made out of love, because the Torah, bro, the law, you know what I'm saying? It's like God loves us and God knows how to treat us because he knows what love is. We don't. We have to learn every day what love is, how not to love. We have to learn a lot of stuff as human beings. We don't have infinite wisdom. It's something to learn every day for the rest of our life, bro. Point blank. You know what I'm saying? God put things in place to let you know this is not showing love. You know what I'm saying? The Israelites had a big job to accomplish, and y'all had to be holy, bro. Y'all had to do things right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, them Israelites.
Right. Like, this was different times in the prophetic narrative. Jesus was prophesied to have come since Adam and Eve. We needed the Israelites to make it to a certain place so that this person could come, so that person could come, so that person, so to make room for when Jesus come. All of these things had to happen. You know what I'm saying? Anywho.
What's your favorite book that we went through?
I think my favorite book was either Joshua or Judges.
Okay.
Because we from Leviticus, Numbers, Exodus, we toiled so much with the Israelites and their bad side, you know what I'm saying, and the things that they got wrong. But actually in Joshua, we get to see where, you know, they get to reap the fruits of their labor.
So start doing some things right.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't all work and no play, you know. But then, so that, and I like how it's really a continuation. It's all a continual book. Like kind of Ruth was like a pivot, you know what I'm saying? And
Ruth was happy.
You know what I'm saying? It was happy.
It was a breath of fresh air.
It was a breath of fresh air. Oh man, that was tough. But I do actually like Judges though, bro. Like I like Judges because it's like we see a more mature Israel state. It's not my favorite book in the Bible. Like some of the prophets that I've read on my own time, I'm like, bro, this is phenomenal book. I can't wait to get there. Like the Daniel, Ezekiel, like I just really like these books, bro. But when it comes to Joshua and like the Joshua and Judges part, we get to see Israel grow up. The Israelites that left Egypt are now all dead, all gone, including Moses. So you have new leadership. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have a group of Israelites who was born and raised.
It was a sad day when Moses going out though.
I read that side, bro.
I didn't feel some kind of way when he hit the rock and he was like, man, they got me.
Yeah, and that was a wrap. But he do have a happy ending too though. But overall, you have these Israelites who born and raised under the law. Right? And it kind of remind me of like a church kid, like you born and raised Christian. You understand what I'm saying? And we see how the things worked out. Everything God was promising, yes. And now when Joshua's time to go, it was like, he was like, all right, I see y'all, we was living good, you know, we could have been living better, but yo, please don't get worse. You know what I'm saying? That's when Judges come, and then you see this battle, up and down battle. So now I just like to see that because it's like, it just reminds me of Israel from their adolescent phase, leaving Egypt. And then you have like kind of the teenage Israel, or maybe like younger.
So I got a next question for you, right? So kind of almost like a follow-up question to that. So who has been your favorite person that we've talked about so far in the Bible, and who has been your least favorite?
I had that question written down, dog, too. That's funny. Who I think my favorite person is, you know, I just laugh at Samson a lot. You know what I mean? But ironically, man, I ain't gonna do that. Yeah, I just laugh at Samson. And so far, no, I can't do that. Anyway, Samuel gonna be my favorite person.
Really?
Yeah, the prophet Samuel.
Why?
See, because I like the fact. Remember what I was saying? From a young boy, the thing that I wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, and the way I had to fight through that, and I didn't fight through it, you know what I'm saying, in order to stand up for God. We have Samuel who was dedicated from a young boy, bro. The stakes was high, bro. The stakes was high for Samuel. He grew up in a household where the people who supposed to be like his older brothers, they wasn't living right. In the name of God, they wasn't living right. You know what I'm saying? But Samuel still decided I could do right. You know, bro. Eli whole household, like all his family get killed, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say just based on that, you know what I'm saying? Because I love that because I know that's my Achilles heel, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That was interesting. I didn't expect Samuel.
Yeah, for real. Let me see who has been my least favorite person in the Bible. I don't know, bro. I don't know who I can say is my least favorite. Like I guess I ain't thinking. I don't know right now. You know what I'm saying?
My least favorite then was your boy who sacrificed his daughter, Jephthah.
Jephthah. Yeah.
That story is kind of cringy to talk about.
Boy, the end of Judges, that's just a dark book. Like it end dark, I ain't gonna lie. It end dark.
That one, yeah. It was just kind of a way to talk about it because just like, again, how was that your first thing, bro? Like, you just follow through with it. So that was kind of weird. I think my favorite person to like talk about probably was Gideon so far.
Gideon.
And the reason why I really feel like I saw a lot of myself in Gideon just because of his doubt. And it kind of reminded me like what I was talking about earlier was because like, again, Gideon felt so unworthy. Like again, he said, bro, I'm the least, my family's the least of all the tribes. I'm the least in my family. So again, he really felt like he was the most inadequate person for God to use. And again, it shows to go like, yo, when we see failure, like God sees our future, like God saying, bro, I know why I'm calling you. And again, I see myself like, because I keep on asking God for sign after sign after sign. And God's like, bro, how much signs I need to show you before you believe in me?
Bro, like,
you know what I'm saying? So like, again, like I feel like I saw a lot of myself in Gideon just because of, yo, I to this day, I still don't feel adequate enough to talk about God sometimes. Like, you have those feelings coming back like, God, am I really about to talk about you? Like, man, I'm about to talk about faith, and I just was questioning if you're gonna work this out for me on the back end, you know? So, and again, like the podcast again has strengthened me in that aspect too. Like, yo, I can't be talking about faith and not preaching it. I can't be like talking about some of these other things in the podcast and not living it because again, God's gonna hold me accountable for that kind of stuff. So yeah, Gideon.
Bro, this is such low hanging fruit, bro. This is so low, no pun intended, but my least favorite person so far, bro, is the serpent. And that's why I say low hanging fruit, pun intended. These things just write itself, ladies and gentlemen.
Good one. But
I mean,
what's your favorite skit so far?
Oh, that's a good one, bro. Because you know we be getting busy on them skits sometimes, bro. Oh man, you know, one of the earlier ones, bro. It would have to be something in Genesis because
Tower of Babel, Noah.
Right.
Noah was pretty good.
I think because I instantly just thought of Noah.
Noah was pretty good.
That's the first one I thought about because I'm like, Tower of Babel was so good too, though, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe between those two because I don't know. I just felt like I was watching a cartoon, like a child cartoon.
Yeah.
Like I just felt like
they were sonically pleasing.
Right, by the grace of God, I just felt like it was such a good job, like that was done, you know.
Yo, and even to give credit to you, like this whole skits part of our podcast, that was like his brainchild, really and truly. Like the skits was you. The intro and exit, they kind of just came off of like the cuff, like again, like we recorded Cain and Abel that first time. No, Samson, even that first Samson episode, we were like, all right, cool, because you ever had like the whole skit idea plan, and we were like, okay, let's just make a skit. They were like, okay, how are we going to introduce it? Then we were like, okay, I'll do the intro. Kind of fell into like us doing the intro and outro, like. But them skits was like, this is like a nice touch.
I love it, bro. I was just
definitely a nice touch.
Just talking to my mom and my mother-in-law about, bro, making a cartoon, bro.
Yeah, that's
I would love to do, bro. If anybody is listening out there and you know can help us with some type of animation,
because they're pretty expensive.
Like if you all can do it, know somebody who do it, know some type of resource that would be useful to us, please let us know because you know these skits are Like they just feed my creative child within me. You know what I'm saying? And I love that so much, bro. Like I could talk all day because I feel like I was just born to talk. But
You know what's funny too? A lot of people don't even know. Like sometimes the skits take us longer than the actual podcast.
oh yeah, bro.
But
The part easy, bro, because you just
you're
like
just talking.
yeah, you like through the week you do your studies, right? Then we just come in and talk. But the skits, bro, we gotta factor in the fact that you can't see what we doing. So
Exactly.
we gotta talk or do things in a certain way so that the listener is always
context.
aware, right?
And the right sound effects. Like it's pretty good fun. There's background vocals, the background music that fits the mood that we're trying to get across to the audience. A lot of stuff, man. So how you want to end this? Like, yeah.
I don't know, bro.
It's different style of episodes. We gotta figure this out because we're gonna have a couple of these type of episodes now with people doing their testimony. So I guess like for you, what's like one thing from like what's your mission for the podcast? Because I know we never even really talk about that. Like, what's your mission for the podcast?
Honestly, bro, well, cartoons, that's a spin-off of it, right? But in terms of mission for the podcast, bro, I want to be at a place where we can continuously go through the Bible multiple times. I don't know what's gonna have to happen for us to move faster because obviously one chapter a week is gonna take a while, bro.
Yeah.
But bro, ultimately, bro, I want to be to a point where we could have other theologians, bro, like beyond our friends. Like we have friends that are theologians, and that's fine. But I want this to be as fast as can be, bro. Like talk to multiple theologians, and we just always have that dialogue. You know what I'm saying about the Bible and about Christ. You know what I'm saying. Ultimately, I also want us to be able to, go on a tour of some sort. Like let's go to multiple places and host this Bible study. You know, because this is not a sermon. This is not church. You know what I'm saying? We do try to teach lessons, but that's really what that's when the Holy Spirit impressed stuff on our heart or what the chapter calls for. But ultimately, I want everybody to know what's in the Bible. That's my biggest thing, bro. So if we could have other people who help us to extract the truths that are in the Bible, or if we can go around and, show people these things, bro, and help people have a abstract way of understanding the Bible. Like, look at this, like these are your friends, like you watching a movie or something like that, that would be like a ultimate goal for me, just for the part.
Okay. I guess for me, it's more so like breaking some of the stereotypes around Christianity and just church and religion and the Bible. I don't want to say anyway, like to make the Bible cool, man. I feel like for a lot of young people, they lose touch with God because they think it's not cool, it's not hip, and most of all, it's not relevant. And I just want people to know that, the Bible is still very relevant. It could be very cool and entertaining. And because a lot of people don't even know how much times Hollywood rips off the Bible, but just spin it off a different way. How a lot of the motivational books rip off the Bible, but give it a different spin. And so it's just like, the Bible is a very important book, still applicable in our daily lives, and it can be cool. Like, it can be cool to follow God. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the daily, like, weekly thoughts we give, like, be unapologetically Christian, like, don't be afraid to speak up about God, like, give your testimony. Like, these are really things I want people to, like, implement in their lives, because we as Christians shouldn't feel lesser than any of the other religions, because our Christianity isn't being promoted as much as Islam, as much as African spiritualism. All right, so we just had some little technical difficulties. The Lord, we gotta line this because we don't see the devil a little busy. But
Right.
just to get back to that same point, again, as Christians, we shouldn't feel like we should have to hide our Christianity, and that goes with anybody for any level. So I want people to know that it's okay to be a Christian, like not like they're in the closet or anything, but it's okay. It's okay to come out and be a Christian. It's okay to like say you're a Christian and actually follow and be that light for people. So that's kind of where I want the podcast to go, and like that's what kind of I want the tool for it to be. Like, again, I definitely want to like have more Bible studies with people, go to different communities and just talk and spread. So we again make the Bible relatable. That was like our main objective. So we gotta land this plane for real.
Yeah, before more technical difficulties.
Exactly. Closing thoughts.
Man, thank you all for tuning into the 100th episode. Whether this is your first episode or your 100th episode, because I know some of y'all have been with us since day one. We really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And we love y'all. God bless.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everyone. We definitely appreciate all the love and the support. We definitely appreciate everyone who tunes, and we definitely appreciate everyone who shares it. And so, yeah, man, like we just want like it to grow, and we want everyone to keep on tuning in. So we definitely really appreciate it. And thanks again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully we can keep this up, and we'll work out the kinks as we get along. And again, this is another process for you guys to watch us grow. Thanks, Yana.
Thank you, Yana.
Our videographer in the back.
Woman.
All right. Yeah, that's
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning into our 100th episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. So far, we've finished 9 books. We're currently into our 10th book, 2 Samuel. When you join us again, we'll be going over some more of David, as well as the Ark of the Covenant. But we'll talk a little more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.